David Benavidez, looking noticeably battered and bruised after the fight, confidently addressed the media, claiming that he hit harder than David Morrell. This bold statement came after Benavidez secured a 12-round unanimous decision victory, but many observers felt the match was much closer than the judges' scores suggested. The official scorecards read 115-111 twice and 118-108 in favor of Benavidez, though several fans and analysts believe that Morrell had put up a stronger fight than those numbers reflected. A crucial moment in the 11th round saw the referee penalizing Morrell for throwing a punch after the bell, disrupting his momentum at a time when he had Benavidez visibly hurt and was pressing to finish the fight. This point deduction played a significant role in shaping the final outcome, raising questions about whether Morrell could have turned the tide had the penalty not been imposed. Furthermore, many fans noted that, based on his relatively unmarked face and body, Morrell seemed to have absorbed far less damage, suggesting that his punches may have been more effective and impactful than Benavidez. Throughout the fight, Benavidez relied on his signature approach, overwhelming his opponent with a high volume of punches, while using his sheer work rate as a form of defense. His relentless aggression and ability to maintain a fast pace have long been his strengths, allowing him to outwork his opponents even if his punches aren't necessarily the most powerful. In contrast, David Morrell adopted a more strategic approach, focusing on landing clean, powerful shots rather than simply throwing as many punches as possible. The stark contrast in styles fueled debates about who truly possessed the harder punch. While Benavidez threw more punches and ultimately won the fight on the scorecards, Morrell's blows appeared to carry more force and effectiveness, leaving many to question whether the decision reflected actual damage inflicted in the ring. Additionally, the penalty Morrell received for striking after the bell was seen as a turning point, as it halted his momentum just when he seemed to be on the verge of potentially finishing Benavidez. Had that penalty not occurred, the fight might have played out very differently, possibly ending in a draw or even a victory for Morrell. Following the fight, Benavidez showed no hesitation in boasting about his abilities, asserting that he knows exactly how to manage a 12-round contest. He acknowledged that Morrell was a tough opponent and admitted that he hit harder than anyone he had previously faced, yet he maintained that his own power was superior. In his post-fight remarks, Benavidez confidently declared that he was bigger, stronger, and more skilled than Morrell, emphasizing that he could attack every area of the body and dictate the pace of a fight. Looking ahead, Benavidez even called out the winner of the highly anticipated Artur Beterbiev Dmitry Bivol rematch, demanding that they come to the U to defend their title against him. This statement, however, was met with skepticism, as many doubt that the winner of such a high-profile light heavyweight clash would voluntarily seek out a fight with Benavidez in his home country. Critics also questioned Benavidez's claims about his power, arguing that his punches were not necessarily more devastating than Morrell's. Some even pointed out that he did not hit harder than Yohanli Hernandez, who fought on the undercard. As the debate over Benavidez's performance and power continues, his victory remains a topic of intense discussion among boxing fans and analysts, with some praising his work rate and determination, while others believe Morrell was the more effective fighter despite the official result. Another key aspect of the fight was the difference in damage sustained by both fighters. While Benavidez may have won on the scorecards, his face told a different story. He appeared bruised and swollen, showing clear signs of the punishment he endured throughout the 12 rounds. On the other hand, Morrell walked away with minimal visible damage, leading many to argue that he had the more effective and impactful punches. This observation further fueled the debate over who truly hit harder, as Benavidez's volume-based approach may have secured him the win, but Morrell's precise and powerful shots seemed to do more damage. Many fans believe that if Morrell had been given just a little more time in the 11th round without the controversial point deduction, he could have potentially stopped Benavidez or at least forced a draw. The referee's decision to penalize him at such a crucial moment remains a major talking point, with some questioning whether it unfairly influenced the fight's outcome. Despite the controversy surrounding the fight, Benavidez remained firm in his belief that he dominated the contest. He described himself as being in control from the very beginning, emphasizing that his size, strength, and conditioning allowed him to dictate the pace. He claimed that Morrell's power, while significant, was not enough to deter him from pressing forward aggressively. This confidence is a hallmark of Benavidez's fighting style, as he has built his reputation on relentless pressure and an ability to absorb punishment while overwhelming his opponents with sheer output. However, some analysts pointed out that Morrell exposed vulnerabilities in Benavidez's defense, landing several clean shots that could have led to a different result under slightly different circumstances. While Benavidez celebrated his victory, Morrell's performance left a lasting impression, showing that he belongs at the elite level and could be a serious contender in future matchups. Looking ahead, Benavidez's callout of the Artur Beterbiev Dmitry Bivol 2 winner is an ambitious move, but it remains to be seen whether such a fight will materialize. Beterbiev and Bivol are both dominant light heavyweight champions with their own legacies to consider, and it's unlikely that they would agree to fight Benavidez on his terms in the UFC. Additionally, the move to 175 pounds would present new challenges for Benavidez, as he would be facing stronger and more experienced fighters in a weight class he has yet to compete in. While he has proven himself as a formidable super middleweight, stepping into the light heavyweight division against world-class opponents is an entirely different challenge. Some critics argue that Benavidez should focus on cleaning out his own division before looking toward new weight classes, especially considering the controversial nature of his win over Morrell. Until he secures a definitive, undisputed victory at super middleweight, questions will remain about whether he is truly ready for the likes of Beterbiev or Bivol. Meanwhile, Morrell's future remains bright despite the loss. His performance against Benavidez demonstrated that he has the skills, power, and composure to compete at the highest level. While the defeat may be disappointing, it has undoubtedly raised his stock in the boxing world, and many believe he will come back stronger in his next fight. If given another high-profile matchup, Morrell could have the opportunity to prove that his power and technique are enough to dominate in the super middleweight division. A rematch with Benavidez is already being discussed among fans, as the fight was competitive enough to warrant a second showdown. However, with Benavidez seemingly focused on moving up in weight, Morrell may need to look elsewhere for his next challenge. Regardless of what happens next, one thing is certain: this fight has sparked ongoing debates about power, skill, and judging in boxing, making it one of the most talked about bouts in recent memory. The fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell was more than just a contest of skill. It was a clash of styles, power, and resilience that left fans debating the true winner. While Benavidez emerged victorious on the scorecards, the battle itself told a much different story. Morrell's precise and damaging punches clearly took a toll on Benavidez, who looked worse for wear by the end of the 12 rounds. The controversial point deduction in the 11th round only added fuel to the fire, making many wonder if Morrell could have secured a late stoppage had the momentum not been interrupted. Despite this, Benavidez remains unwavering in his confidence, declaring himself the superior fighter and already setting his sights on the biggest names in the sport. However, his claims of hitting harder than Morrell don't align with the physical evidence, as Morrell walked away nearly unscathed while Benavidez bore the marks of war. This fight has sparked conversations not just about the judging and officiating, but also about how victories in boxing are measured by volume or by impact. As the dust settles, the future for both fighters is filled with opportunities and challenges. Benavidez's ambitious callout of the Beterbiev Bivol 2 winner shows his hunger for greatness, but whether he is ready for the elite of the light heavyweight division remains to be seen. Stepping up to 175 pounds would put him against harder-hitting, more seasoned champions, and given the damage he took against Morrell, questions arise about how he would handle even bigger punchers. Meanwhile, Morrell, despite the loss, has gained significant respect and is now seen as a dangerous contender who is capable of competing with the best. A rematch between these two warriors would undoubtedly be a massive draw, but if that doesn't happen, Morrell will still have plenty of high-stakes fights ahead. Regardless of what comes next, this bout will be remembered as one of the most intense and controversial fights of the year, proving that boxing is just as much about perception and debate as it is about results.